Oh,
Well, at least you're trying. That's
you
good.
know, Mr. Wolf,
Uh-huh.
he roasted Alex.
He did?
Yeah, because Alex
Oh,
was
he's
like,
your coach, right?
yeah, he's our new coach, and Alex was like, what if you don't give your scores? And he's like, then I'll take half your average. He went, which is for you, -3.
So,
That can't be.
all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's focus. Vincent, you ready?
Got the answers.
What'd you get? You got it right. Didn't you? Did you get -196?
Yeah, but I meant the like final.
Oh, the final? Okay. So what's our B value? 10. -4. A is what? 1. What's C? 74. Over 2 times A. All right, any issues with that? You guys could do that, right?
All good.
Like Wolf, you can do that? Good. So, again, when you put numbers for this to solve it in your calculator, just put the 10 squared minus 4 times 1 times 74. Okay? Oops, not 47, 74. All right, just put that part in. Do not put the square root symbol in, because you're going to get this decimal thing. We do not want it in decimal form, our answer. We want it in radical form. So a lot of you, when I was walking around, had that -196. Okay, what did you guys find out about 196? Perfect square. What is the square root of 196? 14. Very good. But it's also negative. So what else do I got to remember? The I. So look at 10, 14, and 2. Do they have a common factor? 2. Right? 2 goes into 10, 2 goes into 14, 2 goes into 2, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to divide all 3 of those numbers by 2 for my final answer to make sure it's in simplest form. So that's -5 plus or minus 7i. You can put over 1, but do we have to? No, we don't have to. When it becomes a 1, you don't have to put over 1. So there's our 2 answers, -5 plus 7i and -5 minus 7i. If I were to try to graph this, would we see the parabola cross the x-axis? No, we wouldn't. Okay? We got that imaginary unit, right? Questions? Good? All right, so homework answers. Any of those you guys have issues with? You got to set them equal to what before you start? 0, right? So here you'd have x squared minus 14x plus 49. So your C value is positive 49, right? Here you're going to have 3x squared plus 2x plus 5. So your B value is positive 2. Okay? I would, on this one, I would bring the x squared over to make it positive. But it's, if you take the 10 to the other side, it'll still work out. All right, so the x squared and the 25 become positives. Again, do you need me to do any of those on the board? Or did my answers make sense? Did I get them all right? Because sometimes I go so fast I make a mistake. 13? Okay. Was that you, Caleb, asking?
Yeah.
All right. Did you move the z squared to the right, or did you bring the 12 and the 6 over to the left?
I made the z squared positive.
Okay. All right, so A is 1, B is negative 12, and C is positive 6. Okay? So we go Z, this time instead of X equals, Z equals negative B plus or minus square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C over 2 times A. All right, so this first 12 becomes positive 12. My denominator is 2. And then my numerator, that's 144, negative 12 squared. And then negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. So what's that, 120? So I think I'm going to go 4 times 30. That's the only perfect square in there, right? Because 36 times 5, there's no perfect squares left in 30, right? So what can I pull out front? Because that 4 is there. 2, right? Remember, it's square root of 4. So it's 2 that comes out front. So this is 12 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 30 over 2. But we're not done. Why? Right, 2 goes into 2 and the 12, right? So this is 6 plus or minus, you can put a 1, you don't have to, the square root of 30 over 1, which again, we don't have to write the 1. Is that what I wrote on that one?
Pardon the interruption. At this time, we would like the following group and class
Questions? Other
reports to
questions?
main chair. Middle school paint club, paintball club, 7th and 8th grade book club, middle school and high school American Sign Language Club students, middle school Fellowship of Christian students, and that is also high school Fellowship of Christian students. Please go to the main gym now for your group pictures. Thank you.
All right. So we're good on last night's homework, right? Using the quadratic formula, right? Okay. So this says analyzing what we're doing today, analyzing the discriminant. In the quadratic formula, the expression b squared minus 4ac, this red part, the part under the radical sign, is called the discriminant of the associated equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. What form is ax squared plus bx plus c called? Yeah, it's a quadratic, but it's what form? Standard form, right? We have vertex form, standard form, remember? We also had intercept form, remember? So we're looking at standard form now. So this b squared minus 4ac is called the discriminant. It says you can analyze the discriminant of a quadratic equation to determine the number and type of solutions of the equation. I don't know why that got it. See if I can move that down. There we go. All right, so if we look at the discriminant, all right, so if the value of the discriminant is greater than 0, meaning it's a positive answer, there's 2 real solutions. Your parabola is going to cross the x-axis in 2 spots. And your parabola could open up or down, but it'll hit your x-axis in 2 spots. Okay? If your discriminant equals 0, you'll have 1 real solution. All right? Your vertex of your parabola will be on the x-axis. That's the only spot that the parabola hits it. Okay? Why didn't I give these to you guys? Mason, you're supposed to remind me when I forget. William, you're supposed to remind me too. Nick, you're supposed to remind me too. All right, so when the discriminant is less than 0, meaning negative, like our warm-up problem, we have two imaginary solutions, so there will be no x-intercepts. And we already said that today, right? Our parabola won't cross our x-axis. Okay? How do we know when our parabola opens up? Yeah, the a value is positive. When it opens down, the a value is negative. So just, again, let's not forget all those little details we've learned along the way. All right? So the type of problems you'll have today, as well as some more, solving using the quadratic formula, is they're going to say, find the number. It says find the discriminant and determine the number and type of solution. All right? So you could say two real solutions after you figure it out. If it's positive, you could say one real solution if it equals 0. And if you get a negative answer, you can say two imaginary solutions. You don't actually have to find the solutions. You just have to tell if it's two real, one real, or two imaginary. Or you could say non-real if you want. Okay? Questions? Okay. So let's find the discriminant. And all I have to worry about, remember, is this part. So what's b squared minus 4ac? What's negative 6 squared? 36. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, times 10 is negative 40. We get negative 4. So what would we say? Two real, one real, or two imaginary? Two imaginary. That makes sense? That's all you got to do for those. You don't have to actually find the solution. Okay? So how about B? Negative 6 squared. Oops, not plus. Don't make that mistake. It's always minus, right? Always minus 4. AC. So we got 36 again. What's negative 4 times 1 times 9? Negative 36. So the answer is 0. So what do we say? Two real, one real, or two imaginary? One real. Okay? And then here, so it's the same problem except it's 8 for C, 9 for C, 10 for C, 9 for C, then 8. So as each C value got changed a little bit, we got a little bit different answer. We got 36. This is minus 32, so we get 4. So what do we say about that? Two real. So that's all the extra you have to do today compared to yesterday, which isn't quite as much as yesterday, is it? Does this make sense?
Yeah, we're good.
I think that's all it is today. Yep, that's it. So I think 246 are actually solving like we did last night. And then 16 to 22 is what we just did. Good job. You got lots of time, so let's get it done. If you get stuck, I can help you. There's a couple books down here. You can go online, right?